how are you? I hope you're well. Odessa here, Womb Wellness Coach. I wanted to talk with you today about prioritizing your health. Do you prioritize the right amount of time for your womb health? I want to just give a shout out to everyone who is hopping on. So, in my previous lives, I was talking about natural healing, being attracted to natural wellness and womb wellness, give thanks for the love. And one of the things that came up was the desire to help, right? Based off of experiences that you've had, be them traumatized or, very nourishing when it comes to your reproductive health, your womb wellness. And, healers usually have a deep desire to be of service, right? Like you might notice that, you want to help others, you want to be supportive, you always have an answer, or you're looking for a solution, you want to help create more ease, remove obstruction, to make sure that people experience a better, whatever circumstance they're in. The thing about this is from the perspective of a woman, from a womb carrier, an egg carrier, from my experience, women in service are taught to be victims and martyrs, right? So the idea of service and how it looks is coming from a place of subjective experiences of, like feeling as though you have to give, but maybe not wanting to, or, putting out more than you should. And so I just want to, ask that question about boundaries, and what does that look like? Because being able to give and being able to offer is important, but how much are you giving, right? And when you're giving from a place that isn't safe, then your boundaries are crossed. And so you're now in a place of living dangerously and giving dangerously, because then there's this expectation that might be there, this contempt that might be built up, or whatever other possibly negative things that can come from this. And so I just want to kind of bring this to the attention, right? Healers usually have a deep desire to be of service, but healers also, or people who want to be of service, usually also have some kind of a relationship with martyrdom and victimhood, right? And so once again, this is connecting us to boundaries and your ability to give, right? And your ability to be available. Right. And so when you give thanks for that love, and so when you're giving from that place, right, you're using your heart energy wrong. Like we offer our energy to people. Sometimes people take our energy without asking. Sometimes the same thing happens for entities or places, right? And so when you become more aware of how you use your energy, you yourself, this creates a different energetic field around you, inside and around you, and then people begin to understand. People begin to understand more of your enforced space. Martyrdom and victimhood. Yep, I see it all the time. Hi, Mama. Just saw your live and decided to pop on and say love you. Thank you so much for the love. Thank you. But yes, this is right. We see these two all of the time, right? So this is wrong in terms of, coming to this level of service from victimhood and martyrdom, because what happens is you begin overgiving, as I'm saying. And I like to use the examples like within traditional Chinese medicine. We talk about false heat and false cold, right? So you can be extremely hot, or you can be experiencing heat, right? And let's describe it as an influx, right? A crescendo of, a building up of heat, or just like, a presence of a lot of heat. Okay. So you can be experiencing a lot of heat, and it can be happening because like there's an inflammation, right? And so boom, you were hitting everything is like boom, boom, boom. And so this is the kind of heat that you're experiencing, right? You can be experiencing a heat because there's a deficiency, right, of matter to hold the heat in, right? So you can be displaying a false heat. You can say, yeah, I'm hot, I'm experiencing a heat, but it's not because there's a fullness, but because there's a deficiency, there's a depletion, right? And so this is a different way of looking at your liberty and how you're living. And so when we're looking at overgiving, I'm wondering if that was the best example to give, but when you're looking at overgiving, if you're overgiving from that place of deficiency, right? And so you're going, you have the energy, you're making the moves, you're helping your community, your family, your friends, your loved ones, your work, you're giving time, you're, you know what I mean? Being considerate to everyone. But you're not, you yourself, right, are running thin. You're running like, really exhausted and tired. Like what is the quality of that, right? Like that level of performance isn't at your best. You may be giving at the best because of the condition that you're in, but that's not your personal best. So right there, your mindset is keeping you out of the winning game, right? And so if you're giving from a place of feeling full, and that's why I realized I should have gone over my example. I should have created this example before. But if you're giving from a place of full, feeling full, right? Like the fullness is there, the spirit is there, the matter is there, and everything is working, and we're going and we're giving. You're only giving from your overflow. I think I just lost Instagram. I don't know why. Yes, right. So if you're giving from a place of experiencing your physical and your emotional and your mental and your present and, and everything is going well and you're full, then you're only giving from your overflow. And your overflow is, the best stuff that's always coming out. You know what I mean? The best stuff that you're always giving, right? So, when we talk about, wanting to be of service and wanting to give to people, but giving from that place of needing to give, of needing to be of service, you know what I mean? Of needing to care for others before I care for myself, we have to check ourselves because it's a completely inappropriate approach to being of service and being a healer. Completely inappropriate. You do damage to yourself energetically, and you do damage to your person or your people energetically as well as physically sometimes. Okay. So you actually want to be in that place of being rejuvenated, refreshed, and refueled, and just knowing or feeling as though you're capable of going and stopping to take a break, and going and stopping to take a break, right? So like pushing through and doing all of the things because they need to get done, is that, like, that's not the way, because this also contributes to that example of false stability, of false heat, you know what I mean, of false presence that I was talking about before. And it just kind of reinforces that sacrificial lamb type of energy, you know what I mean? And here you can end up falling trapped to what I call full moon gurus, which ends up being like a very superficial experience of spiritual bypassing that people go through, right? Like there's this desire, especially I'm talking about women and women who want to support other women, women who are experiencing their own reproductive health and have a community around them who they want to support. It's really easy to like I'm saying, give, and then in the process of overgiving, look around to see what's there, and then get caught up, in what looks like, this next best thing and this next movement. And I'm not saying that this work is not real or that it's not validated, but you're going to hear me talk often about spiritual bypassing. You're going to hear me talk often about, sending energy into the light, but not dealing with the shadow and the importance of that. We cannot, if we're going to do this kind of work, the reality is a certain level of self-work that has to be done, a certain level of self-care, a certain level of priority that you have to give to your being. And so, this is what I'm here to talk about and to reinforce. Phyllis says, also, there are many, many energy vampires out there. They suck your energy and leave you depleted, especially if you are empathetic. Exactly. Right. And so here you are thinking that you're giving to these people, and you can't understand why they don't seem fulfilled, because they might be pulling and you don't know, or you just can't understand how come you haven't given, you know what I mean? And you don't feel satisfied, right? Because the boundaries are not there. And so what happens is that, there's a deeper level of contempt for service, for being of service to people, right? Because you're giving and you're not receiving what you expect, right? And this is always based off of, why you're coming into this, the perspective and the angle that you're coming into this with. So sometimes there's a deeper level of contempt that's built. There's a level of self-inflicted pain and illness that also develops, right? Because, you're going through the experience, and then in that level of martyrdom, in that level of victimhood, there's, a lot of regurgitation, a lot of rumination, a lot of blame, right, that we're going through. And so it can be a chronic mess, you know what I mean? And I'm talking about more on the extreme sides of it, right? And this is just the realness. When I do this work, when I work with people, when I do it on myself, this is just the deep work that I do. And it isn't a conversation that, people are often prepared or even equipped to have, right? So you can develop a level of contempt. There's a level of self-inflicted pain and chronic illness because of the state that you're in. If you've heard me have conversation before about, illness and how it manifests emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually, well, that's what happens. Sometimes you tune into a frequency, you only listen to this particular radio station, but this particular radio station is attuned to something that is throwing you off. And you are comfortable in that because that's what you know, and you're living with that, and you're living from there, and it's creating illness for you. This illness is slowly developing. You're leaning a little bit more, and then now you begin limping a little bit more, and then you're finding a lump in the area. You know what I mean? It all begins from something, and it develops itself. And so when we recognize the cycles that we put ourselves in, and then it's okay, let me not, do this work and be superficial about it. You know what I mean? Let me not, think that I can fake the funk. Let me, not be the shoemaker with no shoes. Let me give myself the time that is required for me to feel rejuvenated. Because let me tell you something, it's easy to take a moment to rest and get up and jump and do something else, right? And it's a completely different thing to have, a process set out for you with the tools and the time schedules and the power periods and the down times, right? There's so many different ways to approach this. And this is not just with the 4 phases, for those who are familiar with my work, the menstrual cycle, right? But we go really, really deep into understanding this, because it's important that you know the cycles that you're working with. It's important that you know how to help yourself. It's important that you know how to avoid burnout. It's important that you learn your own medicine, right? Everybody has their own medicine. We have this conversation sometimes within the wellness community, but also I've noticed with doctors, we'll have the conversation as well. It's you have, many clients with, this illness that can seem the same, but this medication is not going to work for the next client. And so you have to try a different combination. You have to try a different approach. You have to try a different modality, right? And so everyone everyone has their own medicine based off of their constitution, based off of, how, their body works. And so by you knowing this, by you being aware of what your medicine is, by you understanding, what you should and shouldn't take, how you should take it, when you should take it, you know what I mean? And, being able to address your own medicine, your own health issues, this gives you the opportunity to really give to those around you, right? Like really give from that place of having done the work. So when they have questions or looking for more insights, it isn't just something that you've theoretically read, you know what I mean, or think, as a healer who's moving from a state of deficiency, you know what I mean. You want to be the person who is filled, and robust and giving from that overflow, right? So just like let's let us let that mentality go. What I have been doing over the last couple of weeks is preparing and developing the different phases within my practitioner self-care and feminine healing training. And I am so excited about this iteration of my work. I know that many are familiar with the fertility work that I do, which is still there and it exists in the capacity that it has. But nowadays, I have decided that it is time to have the conversation about women in wellness, women who want to get into wellness. So doulas, healthcare practitioners, healers of any kind who are looking to navigate their own self-care as well as support the women in their community through reproductive wellness, through wellness, through feminine energy, through alternative medicine, without having to do the numerous DIY trainings, because there are so many trainings out there on what to eat, and then the next one on aromatherapy, and then the next one on the, on the steaming, and the next one on the mood. And so I have combined everything together in this program to create a comprehensive package, a comprehensive experience. This is not a course. This is a coaching program. I've created this coaching program to give practitioners and therapists and healers an immersive experience into how their own level of care should be at the forefront and what they can do. So we talk about self-compassion, self-awareness, and body autonomy and confidence. And the reason why this came up was because a lot of women I have been speaking with are talking about feeling stuck, are talking about experiencing imposter syndrome, are talking about feeling helpful, but not necessarily feeling useful. And this wisdom was taken away. You've heard me mention this before. Beautiful wind coming in. This medicine was taken away, and so the perspective that women have of themselves, the perspective that women have of their body, kind of leaves us in a bit of a twisted knot of what to do and what not to do based off of what we're told and what we're given. And so this work is about getting women to embody themselves, getting women to experience this work so that it can influence whatever it is that they're doing. Whether they're choosing to go back and work with women, it's going to influence your everyday regular work, but also and especially specifically if you're working with women and you're looking for more avenues to communicate with them, you're looking for more tools to be able to impart on them when they're asking you questions, because you have a feeling that there's more to medicine that is out there. You have a feeling that there's something else that you can offer the person, the people that you are servicing. And so this is what I'm going to be offering in the program. And I just like wrote down here that the main things, right, that we focus on within the 3 phases, and we just kind of go deeper. We break those 3 down into 9, well, 6 and then 9, but, looking at self-compassion, right? Like as you understand where you are, how you got there, what tools you have, what tools you're missing, and what you need to, and how you're going to acquire them and to address them, right? And how you're going to use them. The awareness of what exactly is going on, and what it is that you need to be doing, and how to respond, and different ways to respond, different ways to reprogram your mind, different ways to reprogram your hormonal system, different ways to interact and interface with the environment around you using the MAP system. And then there's the body confidence and autonomy. And through this is really important. I don't know, especially if you've been keeping abreast in the news, there's been a lot of conversation around, parents being separated from their children in the hospital, pregnant women who are being separated from their children, or just women going into the hospital not feeling as though they have the ability to speak up for themselves or have the confidence to have the conversation with their primary caregiver in a way that leaves them feeling, in charge, fully, I wouldn't say the word satiated, but satisfied with how that appointment went. And so, through self-exploration, through therapeutic movement, therapeutic touch, through, guided meditation, but also through understanding the law and understanding your rights as a sovereign being, as an individual, and knowing what law is. And so bringing all of these things together so that you can move forward into the world feeling as though you are, equipped. That's what we are going to be walking through in the 6 months of this program. And so if this is something that you are interested in, you'd like to get a little bit more information about, I want to invite you to please go to the link in my bio, click on the link below if you're on YouTube, and I would like for you to book a suitability call with me. And when you book your call, you'll get a womb health assessment. And in that womb health assessment, you're going to be able to understand where the gaps are on your journey, where you are, and what things are missing for you to be able to move forward and get the kind of results you're looking for in your practice and also in your own life. And so that is all I wanted to say. That's all I wanted to share with you. Really take time and think about what kind of time are you giving to yourself? How are you prioritizing your own womb care, your own self-care? Okay. And y'all, I'm going to be back again. And I invite you to share, #replay, just come back again. Take care. Bye-bye.